Welcome to this brief video on the Sudden Smile Powder, or Shi Xiao San in Chinese. Shi Xiao San is a TCM formula that has classically been used for stabbing pain in the chest and epigastrium, but is more commonly used for painful periods, uterine bleeding, and postpartum abdominal pain. Shi Xiao San was first mentioned in the Pharmacopoeia of the Taiping Welfare Dispensary Bureau almost 1,000 years ago. This book was first commissioned by the second emperor of the Song dynasty, and re-edited over a number of generations. It was regarded as a collection of the most useful and reliable formulas of that period, and many of its formulas are still prescribed today. The commonly used English title of the formula, Sudden Smile Powder, is really a misnomer abbreviating the explanation of its name. Shi means to lose or miss, Xiao means to smile or laugh, and San means a powder. The formula's strong ability to alleviate or lose pain was said to result in the patient's sudden smile. In fact, the formula may elicit a sudden smile from you when you realize what it is. Shi Xiao San belongs to the category of formulas that regulate the blood, more specifically those that invigorate blood and remove stagnation. The formula consists of just two ingredients, Wu Ling Zhi and Pu Huang. Classically, the ingredients were ground together into a powder and mixed with vinegar or grain-based alcohol to help warm the channels. In recent times, they usually supplement a separate formula, and so most often form part of a water-based decoction. Wu Ling Zhi translates as the fat of the five spirits, as apparently it was supposed to receive the spirit of the five phases or transformations. In reality, it is flying squirrel feces. Its properties are bitter, sweet, and warm, and it is associated with the liver channel. It invigorates the blood and stops pain. When used as part of a decoction, Wu Ling Zhi is normally placed in a separate cotton bag. It should be avoided in pregnancy. Pu Huang is cattail or bulrush pollen. It is sweet, acrid, and neutral, and associated with the liver, heart, and spleen channels. Pu Huang stops bleeding, removes blood stasis, and promotes urination. It is most often used in its dry-fried form. Its seed fluff can also be used like cotton balls to staunch a wound, and poultices made from crushed cattail roots can be used on cuts, stings, burns, and bruises. It shouldn't be used raw, and like Wu Ling Zhi, should be avoided during pregnancy as it can lead to uterine contractions. Most commonly, the two ingredients of Shi Xiao San are treated as supplementary paired herbs, and are added to other formulas treating the patient's broader complaint. Both herbs are associated with the liver, which is the main TCM organ associated with blood. In TCM, there is a saying that where there is flow, there is no pain, and where there is pain, there is no flow. Pain that is distending, diffuse, and not localized is associated with qi stagnation. Pain that is sharp, deep, or stabbing, and fixed in location is associated with blood stagnation. Both of these herbs are mainly blood herbs, but they also act on qi. Wu Ling Zhi mainly invigorates the blood and primarily acts to stop pain. Pu Huang breaks up blood stasis and stops bleeding. Together they powerfully disperse blood stagnation and stop intense pain, especially in the areas associated with the middle and lower jiao. So in China, this combination is used to treat chronic stabbing pain, postpartum or uterine bleeding, and painful menstruation. It is also used in combination with other herbs to treat infertility in certain cases. So let's deal with the elephant in the room. This formula uses animal feces. In no way am I advocating for its use, but I would like to look at this substance in an abstract, objective way and state my experiences with it. Opinion is divided on the use of Wu Ling Zhi in China. Two serious TCM physicians that I studied with in China regularly added this herb combination to the formulas they prescribed for their female patients, and spoke very highly of it. Other TCM physicians I know refused to use it. In his reference book, Bensky is very specific about what Wu Ling Zhi refers to, and he makes a note of possible adulterants. Here we can see a comparison between Wu Ling Zhi, the feces of a field mouse found in my house, and a grain of rice. If you inspect Wu Ling Zhi, it has very clear characteristics differentiating it from adulterants. However, for those unfamiliar with these characteristics, we can see that Wu Ling Zhi can easily lend itself to substitution with the feces of a similarly sized rodent. Obviously, you should make sure you're dealing with a supplier in whom you have absolute confidence, and that you're getting the product you're expecting. This should be true of all your herbal supplies. Wu Ling Zhi is not available in England, although I have been able to obtain it in other European countries, and of course in China. If we set the distasteful nature to one side, what arguments can be made for the consumption of feces? It is a fact that many mammals, including rabbits, pigs and rats, consume their parents' excrement while they're being weaned, and their own excrement when they're adults. Experiments depriving them of this part of their diet show that a single round of digestion is inadequate for obtaining the appropriate amounts of nitrogen, protein, sulfur, iron and B-complex vitamins that these animals need for normal development. Similarly, animals such as the dung beetle make use of the preliminary incomplete digestion of food by other animals. Nonetheless, we humans have evolved without needing to resort to this strategy of digestion for survival. Concerning classic use of Wu Ling Zhi, it is mentioned in many materia medica in different periods since the Song dynasty. It was specifically cited for use by both women and children. It is indicated for moving blood and qi, and for treating cold. Curiously, medical use of excrement and other human and animal components appears in numerous traditions. The Tibetan medical tanka of the 4 medical tantras documents the use of feces of several animals in addition to herbs, which are more difficult to obtain because of the high altitude of much of the country. In Western tradition, this type of medicine was advocated in the form of Dreck-Apotheke by the 17th century physicians and scholars Johann Becher and Christian Paulini. The use of the often repulsive ingredients and recipes in the so-called dirt pharmacy are based on various historical and magical religious principles of healing. Any success in this form of healing is usually ascribed to a form of placebo effect, created by overcoming the disgust in using this kind of medicine. This form of treatment is of course poorly viewed by modern science. Assuming that there are useful ingredients in Wu Ling Zhi, it would be safer to draw on the example of the chemical compound urea. Amongst its various properties, urea is used as a moisturizer in almost all skin creams, and is regarded as one of the safest and most effective medicines for that purpose by the World Health Organization. Some 50% of human urine is urea. However, urea is commercially prepared using liquid ammonia and liquid carbon dioxide under high pressure. This objectively appears costly and inefficient, but it guarantees purity and removes the disgust factor. If the key chemicals in Wu Ling Zhi were determined, and the effect of this combination is confirmed, inorganic manufacture of this product would certainly be generally more acceptable. But here, amongst other issues, we would be moving away from the spirit of herbalism. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you'll join me for future videos in this series.